Hello there, I'm Mike Creevy for Homeschool Connections, and today we're joined by Julian Ahlquist here to talk about his courses with Homeschool Connections. Julian, how you doing?
Great, thank you.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. And as we've been doing here, we like to ask all of our instructors, a little bit about your own background, your own interests and studies, and kind of what led you to Homeschool Connections.
Sure, yeah. So yeah, I'm Julian Ahlquist from Minnesota. Got a degree in philosophy and theology from Christendom College. I've been teaching philosophy to high schoolers for like 15 years, and also a fair bit of theology and history too. So yeah, I'm a founding faculty member of Chesterton Academy, the first Chesterton Academy. I designed basically the history and the philosophy curriculum for the Chesterton Schools Network, and we got like 50 schools now, I think, at this point.
Yeah,
Yeah, throughout the world, even
it's really
one in Iraq.
exploding.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and but yeah, as a teacher, I've been in a somewhat unique position because I've been developing, and innovating a philosophy curriculum for high schoolers, right? Which is
sure.
usually kind of unusual. So, many people had some pushback saying like high schoolers can't understand philosophy. That's impossible. What are you doing? And I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure they could handle it. And I think it's, pretty important because by that time they're either receiving, philosophy, from the culture or doing some
Yeah,
philosophy in their head and maybe not too well. So, the high school age, I think, is actually maybe the best time to do philosophy, or at least a really good age.
yeah,
Um, so the I've yeah, in addition to just Catholic education, I've been working sometimes with the Chesterton Society. My dad is Dale Ahlquist, the president of the Chesterton Society. So do things with that, and he was the one to lead me to Homeschool Connections. Knew some people. They wanted a psychology course, and I do a lot of psychology as well. The psychology courses I have are very philosophical too, but also, the typical things you think of psychology courses,
yeah,
personality types, mental disorders,
right.
psychotherapy methods, and whatnot. So that's what got me into Homeschool Connections, and I've been doing
Great.
it for about 7 years.
Wonderful. Yeah, I know when you mentioned psychology, I can't help but think that it's, and I think I mentioned this to Dr. Christy Moore too. I was talking to her about some of this, and I found myself, a couple psychology courses constantly like either diagnosing myself or noticing all kinds of things. It just does make you wonder. It's a really intriguing.
Oh yeah.
Do you get into in that sense? And this is something similar, I think, that I asked her from a Catholic perspective. Having an opportunity within a psychology course to explore just the fact that that comes from the word for soul, right? That it's
Yes.
not just brain. It's there's a richer sort of dimension to that discussion.
Oh yeah, yeah, right from the get-go. So yeah, psychology is technically the study of the soul, right? And the soul has had sort of a standard definition throughout philosophy, but there was sort of a shift, like in the 1800s or so, where they're like, no, it's a study of the mind because that's more scientific sounding and
Mm,
whatnot. For better or for worse, right? But yeah, psyche is now more associated with mind, whatever that is. That's a
right.
complicated topic. But originally it was just soul. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and so what's been, I suppose, in teaching high schoolers, philosophy, just to jump over that for a second, with the naysayers, so to speak, or folks who might be a little apprehensive to have high schoolers take that on. What is, I don't know if you can share one or two, just a story or observations even that you've had, from actually doing that and taking that on with them.
Sure.
How's that
Yeah.
been going?
No, it's been going very well. So a lot of times students say, I've been wondering about these deep questions, all my life, and I'm finally getting some answers. We even go over some bad answers because
Yeah.
not all philosophers are sane, right? So we look at like good ideas and bad ideas, and it's valuable even to look at those really bad ideas because it makes sense of the messy culture we're in, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they're like, oh, that's why society is like this. It's because of
Right.
this idea. Oh, now it makes sense. And there's it makes sense of history too. That's why these people did these weird decisions in this historical event. So it's just like a lot of moments. It's like, oh, no, this
Yes.
life is starting to make sense now. And especially philosophy deals with the meaning of life, and so that kind of gives a sense of security, and it helps you get out of existential crises, for example.
Yes.
Philosophy can also get you into existential crises, of course, too, but
But hopefully gives you the tools if it's done rightly to get you out of those
exactly.
if you're dancing around it.
Yep.
Oh wow! So in I guess you could take your pick from any of your courses. Is there anything in particular for students watching this or for parents kind of watching this little introduction here that you like to do in the class, or that particular assessment or project, or just anything about the character of your class that you might want to point out to them?
Yeah, it's usually, with a couple of exceptions of my courses, usually it's all the you don't do any reading, right? I present the notes all in PowerPoints, and I explain them. Definitely a lot of time for questions, and questions definitely do come up. And sometimes we get into tangents,
Sure.
but there's usually a quiz after every course or so. Usually a quick quiz. I give comprehensive study guides for every quiz, and all you got to know is what I go over in the lecture. So yeah, it's a
Hmm.
lecture, but also with lots of discussion sort of punctuating it.
Wonderful.
And yeah, there's a couple courses where we read Plato, so there's
Hmm.
reading in those courses, but by and large, all you got to do is get the notes from class.
Sure.
Mhm.
Well, Julian, anything else you want to share with us just about your courses in general? Anything else you experience from Homeschool Connections, or how anyone can reach you if they want to learn more about your
Um,
courses, you?
yeah, the psychology courses are generally the most popular ones, but I do
Hmm.
an early Greek philosophy course. Definitely covers Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle.
Yeah.
Um, but also a lot of weird early Greek philosophers that are less known but still very important, and influenced science amongst other things. Um, and a lot of them are crazy but very entertaining. And the yeah the early Greek philosophy, I do some Plato courses, and I'm going to do a metaphysics course, which is the study
Mm.
of being / existence itself.
Hmm.
That's kind of my favorite one.
Yeah.
And yeah, just my courses have a lot of Thomas Aquinas in it, naturally, who's of course my favorite philosopher.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, if to check out more, you can go to Homeschool Connections, the instructor page, my instructor page. You also check out Homeschool Connections catalog for more information as well.
Wonderful. Well, Julian Ahlquist, thank you so much for stopping by today and sharing about your Homeschool Connections courses with us.
You're welcome. See ya.
Yep. God bless.
God bless.